All right, good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we're going to go through the live order flow analysis in any market that we can connect to that you guys are interested in accessing. Just let me know. Typically, we just start with the S&P E-mini futures and stay there, but we can look at anything you guys want. All right. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in here and take a look and see what's going on. We can do a recap of yesterday, maybe. It's a good place to start. Let's see here. Any questions here? Morning. Good morning, Mark. And Dieter, good morning. All right. And over in Discord, anything in particular? Did I miss or have any questions? Good morning, Caesar. Okay. Alan, Steven, Vinny. All right, let's jump in then, and do a quick recap because yesterday, it's Monday, we didn't have a lot of data. We're looking at kind of the bigger picture here. This is yesterday's candle here, as you can see, this red one. At that time during the webinar, we had seen that price had kind of retested a low and on the daily here, and then it kind of bounced back up, and it was a green candle during that webinar. But then we started to see some weakness in price, and we're looking for. And first, we were looking for a kind of move to the upside, which did unfold, and then we're looking for the move to the downside, which did unfold. And it was this weakness here. We can see it in the 15-minute chart or the hourly chart right in through here. And then we were looking for moves down into about this 93 area. It was 50.93 from what I recall. And that's exactly what we got. Now, we never know what's going to unfold here. But at that time, that's what we were looking for. We had the smaller picture time frame that we were going through in the order flow, and we had our bigger picture time frame by looking at our higher time frame candles here, as well as bigger picture in the order flow. And it evolved during the webinar, and we saw it unfold. Are there any questions about that and understanding the difference between these higher time frames and lower time frames? We went through the heat map in detail yesterday, going through and understanding specific levels and where we get a skew maybe in the order book and how that might affect price. What is the context of the price action after a skew in the auction in the order flow? What are the transactions? What are they telling us? And when we get that understanding on the high time frame or low time frame, we can look for follow through in the moves. Now, nothing else kind of unfolded yesterday. Just kind of dribbled off and traded down to our 93 level and a little bit lower. And then you can see that here we opened today. So we went down actually to about 77. So it went down below our 83 level. You can see actually here a little bit of a bounce. This was around 1:45 in the afternoon, and then it, end of the day, it kind of fell down here. Today you can see it very clearly. We're still in that same trend. We can see the move to the downside, and you could draw a trend line right in here, and you can see that nothing has broken that, and we're still making lower lows here. You can see in here a tiny little, a little bit of a gap just to the top of the range here, and then sellers came right in immediately. Okay. Now we've seen buyers come in a couple times here too on the 15-minute chart, but price rejects up here each time. Right. So on the hourly here, we're seeing that as well, and On the daily, well, you can see the candle here is slightly green, but we have already dipped below outside of yesterday's price action, and I don't see a lot of buyers coming in right now interested in taking it higher. That may change. Okay, we will look at the order flow and we'll look for that distinction in change in the transactions and the order flow. All right, so let's jump into Bookmap and let's take a look. We'll zoom out a little bit, and here's the move to the upside. Okay, in the pre-market, this is an interesting move here. A lot of buyers starting to come in. High liquidity flip from offer to bid. A big block here of traders. In fact, if you zoom in here and we look at this, you can see our large lot tracker captured these traders in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 price levels here. Likely, let's see, 173, 198, 178. So likely about 100 lots or something, somewhere around in there. And whatever it is the same across 4 price levels. Okay, we see one large lot tracker over here that kind of breaks up that though. So either a lot of traders are trading the same exact contract spec, or it's one individual actor. All right, so we don't know that, but it's likely one individual actor, and we can see that they actually transacted. Okay, so we know that this is an interesting area now. All right, let's mark it up. Let's put a horizontal line here, and somewhere around in here, let's just say. Okay, maybe actually we'll make it a zone. Move it up here, and then we'll put another line here. Right? Okay. And this is the zone we had drawn from yesterday. This is actually a new feature in Bookmap 7.5. Your drawings are saved, which is pretty nice. Hold on, that one and remove this one. Okay. All right. So now let's take a look at that zone in here. Right. This is how we can start to map out our day here. And start to understand these levels and significance here. Well, clearly there's some significance here. Okay, well, we see the sellers, there's high liquidity on the bid. Sellers take it through down to this low level here of high liquidity, a little bit through it and then back up, and we bounced off of here twice. We didn't find buyers, enough buyers to take this higher, okay, and for price to accept higher. So we see the sellers come in and they moved price lower. All right. Now we can see the even the move back up into here by the buy side, and back up to this 84.85 level here where the sellers came in and dropped price. Sellers remain in control then. All right, so that's our theme here, and that's what we're sticking with. Okay, our theme in here right now is it's sell side. All right, now we can look at the delta in our new footprint chart in here. Okay, we have a little bit of positive delta here, just 43. Then 9:30 cash open, it goes to negative 4,000, negative 2,500. Slight delta here because there's a lot of buyers coming in here. Negative 78, and then now it's a little bit positive here, 75. Okay, so that's what we see so far. Yeah. Let me know about yesterday's review. It's kind of important that we can understand how to put together the pieces for a higher time frame move and lower time frame move. If you have any questions about that, you can go back and I'll put this webinar into the chat for you. It's called Honing Your Bookmap Heat Map Order Flow Edge. All right. And I'll put that into the chat here. Oh, can I put that into the chat? Yeah. Oh. All right, so that's yesterday's. It might be good for a review. We covered a lot in the heat map, okay, and understanding details in the heat map. All right, so let's just zoom in now and let's go through some of the live order flow analysis. All right, so we saw that move to the upside here in the candles as well, and then here the sellers come right back in. Okay, now on this smaller time frame as well, right here, starting here, sellers still remain in control. Right? So this is where they brought it down, and we have not seen buyers come back in and retest this area. Now, what about the at the very moment here? What's happening? We're starting to find some buyers. Okay, back to the top of this range here. That's it though. Okay, we have not broken the structure yet. In fact, we talked about this yesterday. This cluster of buying here, they will become sellers down here. Okay, and let's see if we can get our sell side to pick up here, and we're looking for a move right down into 76 here, and then maybe lower. Okay, now what do we have? Now we have that element here on our side. That's good. What about the order book? Okay, we talked about this a lot yesterday. What do we have on the order book here? Not much. There's a layer of liquidity up here at 80, also down here at 76, 76, and there's not much in between, right? So we don't really get much information here. When we don't have the information, we're not looking for something higher probability to unfold. We just don't have much information. It may or may not unfold. Now, what we're going to go through is that the scenarios like we went through yesterday. Okay, we identified potentially trapped traders here, trapped buyers here. And we're looking for our sellers to come in and move price down here. That is the scenario. What other pieces do we have in here, though, to rely on that scenario? Okay. This is how we can go through a checklist and start to develop a checklist. And then when we have those elements checked off in our list, we can look for something higher likely or more highly likely. Okay? Right now, you can see that that scenario that we came up with is not playing out. Okay, we're looking for our sellers to try to drive price down here. We didn't have anything in the order book at all, really. And now look at this. It's actually the opposite. Okay, so and we didn't know this was going to unfold. But we were looking for that scenario here. Now it's actually the opposite scenario. These sellers in here are going to get stopped out on the way back up, and they're going to these buyers are going to retest control up in these areas up here. And we're right at an area right now that's of interest, maybe a little bit higher here at 82, okay, 83, 82, and retesting that area. Okay, so anyway, this is how we can go through and look for filtering our trades for something more likely. All right, I hope that helps. Let's see, Alan, you have a question. In Europe, they use a 12-minute chart for equities to prevent over trading. Use 4 hours. I don't know, Alan. I don't know what they use. I've never heard that. All right, now we can also look at another, like let's filter this. Now this could be a possible flag pattern right here, right? We have a lot of trap traders in here, a lot of sellers. Okay, buyers come in, impulse move, right? Low volume pullback. Okay, pretty much. Buyers coming back in. Now, what pieces are missing in here? Now, I still look for the move up into 84 here. Okay, but there's some pieces missing in this flag pattern here. Okay, one of them is having liquidity underneath here, or looking for the liquidity getting filled or exhaustion or something down here on this pullback here. Okay, this is a variation. right? Now, if this is something that you take this variation, then this is a whole new risk management involved in here. Okay, it's a different pattern. It's a different variation in here. We don't have the order book, and you would have to have a different setup in here for it. Let me show you what I mean. We'll come in here and we'll look at our setups checklist. Okay. Right. And the default one here in our setups checklist is the one that's from the Learning Center. And let me show you where that is. Okay. If you go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here. Oh, I'm sorry. You can just click right away on Education here. That'll take you to the Learning Center. And our strategies and setups and our flag pattern in here we go over. And then in our flag pattern, we're looking for a low volume pullback and liquidity underneath here. Let me show you what it looks like in the, yeah, here, something like this, right? And it would be great to see some of it transact. We know that there's buyers at a higher level here. There's buying interest after the impulse move. Okay, now that's the setup and that's the checklist here with this flag pattern that we have. Okay, it's also here on this fourth video. We have our checklist here. Okay, so you can look at the checklist. It is duplicated here in our setups checklist. All right, so and we can grade this checklist in here and look for something that is more likely to unfold. Okay, so that's that pattern that we're looking for. Now, you can have a variation on this and make up your own. You can go to settings in here, and probably the best thing to do would be to export this one and then make your own and then save it and then load it. Okay, you import. So you have a CSV file. It'll probably show up in if we do modify, see how it shows up in a notepad here. And these are the criteria that you see here. So do a save as you know, edit it, do a save as, and then you can load it as a variation. Okay, and the variation for this flag pattern, you'll have to come up with your criteria in here. What is it that you're looking for? What is that checklist? Okay, so we know that there's a nice little stop run here, and we also know that there was a low volume pullback in here, and not much volume compared to the buyers, and we're looking for buyers to come back in and reach this liquidity and this swing here, and that's exactly what it did. Okay, now we can also look at measured moves. However, you're going to have to come in here and note the differences in here, and it's like I said, it's a different setup. Okay, because here we have a different measured move, or I'm sorry, the measured move is actually the same, but here we'll just duplicate that line, and there it is. Beautiful, perfect, right? It looks just picture perfect. It didn't have all the pieces from our setup. Now you can pass on it if you're looking for the specific setup from the Learning Center, or you can have your variations. This is a really important detail to cover in here. Why? Is because there are always variations to the pattern, some way, shape, or form. Okay? But the concepts are the same in here. The concept here is momentum. Impulse move, not too many sellers on a low volume pullback looking for another impulse move. Okay, so that's what we want to understand. It's not so much about it being a precise definition of the flag pattern or this or that. It's understanding the context and the order flow in here. Okay, because look how unsustainable this one is. It just came up to the top of this range, and immediately after trading up here, it sold off right back down to this swing, and now we see more sellers. Okay? In fact, we can go right back to our original outlook here. Let's see if we can get more sellers to trade back down here and maybe through this area. Okay, are we seeing weakness come in? Right now, well, not really. I mean, in fact, they're bidding up here in the order book, so we still don't have much to go on. In fact, if there's anything, these buyers here or sellers here were tested already, and we came back up into top of the range, and then it sold off all the way back down to where it broke out from, and it seems to be bouncing, but we do see some support here. Okay, now if we see some support here, we're actually looking for buyers to try to take it back up here, and maybe back up to 83.5, 84. Right, well, what do we have to justify that though? Not much. Not much. A little cluster here of some buying. Well, that's not much. We also have, though, another thing here is the buyers on this strong move. They are the ones now moving the market or in control in this time frame. All right. So we have two things on our side here for a continuation on up. We have our higher time frame on this small time frame. It's not really higher time frame. We also have a little bit of cluster of buying in here and some support here. So we only have three elements in here. Okay, that's really not a whole lot to lean on. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. This is what we want to go through and look for something that is more likely. Okay, so we have 1 is the strong move here. I need to fix this here. Hold on. In fact, let me try this in Bookmap. In fact, I would actually look to see the push through here on the sell side now, and that was our original idea in here, and they are pulling here. Okay, so let's see if we can get actually that move into our 76 here. Okay, so and we're looking. Remember how we said we had support here on the bid. Okay, that was one of the points in here. Well, that's not true any longer. It's through it. Okay, now how does this selling look here? It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Okay, we'll go through one setup at a time here, because we are looking for this push through into 76 here. But we'll come back into this setup here in a minute. All right, because this is one of the things we look for. We've looked at it for years, this push through and the horizontal line that we can draw up right here, and back to kind of the line, and then look again for sellers to come back in and pull it back down. But this is what we had here. All right, so in our drawing tools, we'll just use text, and we'll just say we had number 1, we had strong buying. All right. Number 2. See, I don't think I have this as a back quote. Okay, so the back quote key. Which one that is? Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. 2 is what do we have on the bid, right? Yeah. We had some liquidity on the bid. And 3, we had cluster of buying. Let's see. All right. So these are the three things that we had for that setup. Oh God, sorry guys. It's just here we go. I got it now. All right. Um, so we had our uh, liquidity on the bid down here, and then number 3 here is this cluster of buying there. Okay. Now that's not a whole lot to lean on for a setup. And that's why we're looking for a lot more back in here to give us insight. Okay, and this way we can filter out a lot of the bad trades, and that's a big deal. Okay, only look for your good, strong setups. When you can do that, you've just now made a much closer leap to well, just a much higher profits, basically. Right, and you have to wait. And look for, and now we have some criteria in here to justify something. Okay, in fact, that idea, what happened here? Well, our sellers came in, dropped below it. Now we're back above our line, and we have another cluster of buying up here. Okay, so we can add and this is important too. We'll cover this. We can add a fourth one here and say another cluster of buying up here. Okay, so we'd have to kind of zoom in here and read it, and we'd even look at our delta. It's not that strong, but you know, we can now look for maybe a retest back up here at 82, and then our breakout to 84, 85, etc. Okay, we still don't have the order book on our side yet. Price can slosh around in here between this 79 and 84 up here. Right, so this is a great way to go through and start to create your setups. Okay, once you have something more likely to unfold, then you can put some risk on it. Okay, it is something at least before putting risk on it, at least it is a starting point for some studying. Is this a new setup for you? Is it a variation of a setup, etc.? We've gone through now 3 different setups: our original flag pattern, and then a variation of our flag pattern, and then this here would be kind of more, a bit more like a kind of a range bound pattern, or even a breakout type of pattern here. Okay, so or maybe this turns into another flag in here. In fact, you know. It's not the really strong move, but nice cluster of buying up here. Pull back on lower volume, and we're looking for our buyers to come back in up here and try to at least retest back up to 84. Okay, so we have you know, 3 different points on that for this to unfold. 4 different points on that to unfold. Now let's see if we get our order book in here to help support that. Okay, so I would recommend that, and this is what we do in the Bookmap Academy program, is to go through and mark up some of these order flow elements in here, and then look for the scenario to unfold. Okay? And the scenario for this one right now is if we can get buyers up here, we're looking for them to break out. Okay, because we have our idea here. We have our strong move and liquidity on the bid that was here. We broke it. When we came back up, we have another cluster of buying though. We had a cluster of buying here and another cluster here. Okay, we don't have the order book, so okay. All right, so it's 3 points in here still, 3 or 4 points basically, and now this is a great starting point for building out your strategy. And then why didn't it work? If it doesn't work, why? See if okay, just looking at the discussion in Discord, and you guys are still talking about the European time frame. Okay. Morning, Tom. Good morning, Stephen. All right. All right, guys. Well, here we are back up here again. Okay. Now they are pulling liquidity here. See that? That helps a little bit, right? We still want to see that bid, but this is another element in here. So it is more likely still, not much more, but more likely still to trade up to 84. Okay, we've auctioned up here. We've auctioned up here again. We're still finding buyers up here on a retest. Okay, on this retest, we didn't find many. So we pulled all the way back to where these buyers did come in down here. And we found our buyers again here. Okay, well, we didn't have all the pieces. The auction looked pretty good. We had the potential for that move here. Okay, it didn't unfold. Okay, and we wouldn't have taken a position on it. No, this is still chop here. All right, anyway, what we're looking for in here, and the way that we have drawn this up has been more of a breakout strategy, okay, or momentum strategy. Okay, you can see what this turned into, and we're going to cover this in another strategy, a sideways, or range bound strategy, okay, because we see this so many times. Like, again, who's in control? Well, at this point here, buyers are still in control on this time frame and this one just behind it. Okay, now they are not. Now they are out of control. Okay, so now if we don't find buyers and this rejects and comes back up into the range in here, this is where we're going to find our sellers. Okay, so because now we've got some really nice trap volume up in here, and we can look at a higher time frame move in here. Okay, based off of this move in here, sellers being in control. Okay, so what are we looking for now? Sellers to drive it away really quickly, get a big stop run down below these areas in here. Okay, and let's see if we get that. Look at the offer here, and the bid is showing some action though as well. There's a lot going on in here, and I'm trying to keep up with different strategies. But we're looking for a mark down period now. We have maybe the kind of impetus here, a catalyst for this. So now we're looking for our sellers here. We want to see these buyers on the bid pull. We know that there's sellers already here at 80. So we want to see these guys pull here, and now we're looking for our sellers to drive this down to 77, 76. We can look for a measured move here as well. Okay, let's look for that. Okay, here's our range, and we can drop that and see if that matches any liquidity. Okay, 77 looks like a good target, right? Okay, 77 pulled. Okay, well, we can come back. Well, 70. Let's keep our rectangle here, but we can come down to 75. Now that's going to be pretty close to the low of the day here for the cash session as well. All right, so anyway, the point is in here is to start to understand these elements in order flow and put together a checklist so that we can understand which direction it might go. Now we're developing scenarios based off of this checklist, okay? And looking for the scenario to unfold, one or the other. And you can't keep up with the checklist here. There's probably like 3 or 4 that we could have come through. A bit of a pullback right now. It is on low volume, low buy volume. Yeah, I mean, since we've pulled away here from all of this up here, I'm still looking for sellers to try to drive it lower. Right now, what do we have on our side? Well, we still have the order book here at 80. There's liquidity, and there's not much liquidity down here. So our 77 level they pulled. Okay, so 76 and 75 would be the next levels. Okay, so now what we're looking for is just our sellers to come in. Here they come. They're on the offer here again at a lower level here. So we're getting sellers still. So still looking for sellers to drive this lower. Okay, our 77 level and our measured move played out. Okay, we're still looking for more though. Okay, now it's up to you guys. Like, you know, on a choppy day, maybe this is where you want to take your profit. This was the measured move. This is what you were looking for. Let's zoom out though. Let's look at our higher time frame, right? Because higher time frame, I mean, this has got tons of room to go. You know, we can come down to 72. We can come down to 70. Quite a bit lower. Look at the liquidity down here at 60. Right, so this could be strong move, bunch of chop, followed by another strong move to the downside, okay, on a higher time frame. If that is the higher time frame that you are trading, well, then you would probably be getting involved into it short side in here someplace. Now, this is a hypothetical. It's not a trading plan. It's not a recommendation here. Your stop would be up here above the swing, and your take profit, well, depends on where you want to take it. You could look at another measured move here, example. And we're using measured move to understand kind of pressures in the market. Now, see how nicely that lines up here with 72. And there's liquidity there at 72. So that you might want to kind of just, you know, put a leg of profit right in front there, 73 or something like that. Any questions on this? Kind of how to look at order flow and build out your trading strategy using a checklist. Okay, and then what you have now is something on your side, and you want something on your side. You want a foundation. You want something to lean on, some strength. And this is it. This is how you get it, is through your checklist. Okay, that will help you. Then you can look for this to unfold, and will likely, well, it'll be more likely to happen. okay, because you have a lot of other traders in here supporting that idea. And that's how you can get an edge. And it's never, ever easy. I mean, that's what we have on our side. And then you gotta protect yourself. Look at them come right back now. Okay, buyers coming right back in, trading back to this, well, maybe this 80 level here. Maybe they'll tangle with this 80 liquidity here and trade. Maybe they'll get above our line here. We don't know. Okay, but we can prepare for it. Okay, what if this scenario doesn't play out and we have risk on? Okay, how do we deal with that? Well, there's a few different ways. One is to take partial profits along the way and always get back in. Another is to move your stop down. Or another is like maybe you're trading a higher time frame and this is meaningless to you. Your stop's up here. Okay, you've got to take risk on one way or another. That's just how it is. Okay? And then you have to manage that risk. Put wall around 50-50. Okay. Now let's jump back and look at our higher time frame for a minute. I'm hoping that this helps, guys, trying to put together some sort of kind of foundation or strength and a more cohesive, thought through plan. And then it really is by reading the order flow in here, and then over time you will study this and put these pieces together to make a strong plan for yourself. Okay. Now look at the buying that just came in, right into that 80 level. And now we didn't know this was going to happen. And that's a lot of buying. In fact, not only did they take that liquidity here, they're still buying. Now, why didn't this should be able to move price higher? Okay, now it did. Okay, but there's a huge iceberg in here. Look at that huge iceberg. Look at all of this absorption here by an iceberg. Okay, so they sold. How many is that here? It's like 2,500 or more contracts here just transacted. We can put our iceberg indicator on chart here. And beautiful stop run as well. All right, so it was over 3,000, looks like. No, just around 3,000, right in this little area here. Now, this iceberg had been in there for a while, in fact. See how it initiated way back here and had been it transacted a little bit in this area here and then transacted a lot more here, obviously. Okay, right into it. All right, so how do we handle this? Well, our trade idea, well, you'd be stopped out at break even. Maybe you took some off on that measured move down to 77, and your stop was at break even and you're out. And you look for the next setup. Okay, you protected yourself, and we don't know this is going to happen. In fact, it still looks to me like it we had our sellers moving price away, and that's our markdown period. Okay, it was looking for maybe our bigger move down into 71 here, 72. Well, it didn't unfold. Okay. Larger player came in here. Everything is disrupted here. So let me get back to Rob on this. Oh, that helps, Vinny. Okay, good to hear. Rob, see how we didn't know, and we put together our plan, and we're looking for it to unfold, and it partially unfolded, and then it didn't. Then it failed, and we didn't know, but we protected ourselves for it, and we look for the next setup. Okay. You can't. I mean, it doesn't. I think a lot of traders and a lot of people are looking for, well, it should have worked. Like that's the way I studied it, or that's like the book I read. And this could be really devastating, because that's how you add into a loser and really get hurt. It must do it. I read it, and I studied it. I'm not saying I'm not pinpointing Rob on that, but I just being stubborn and egotistical and staying with a trade idea can be really, really hurtful. Okay? Just if it didn't do what you thought it was supposed to do, you've got your fail safe, and that is your risk management. Okay, so again, we're going through developing our trade ideas based off the order flow elements in here, and then protecting with risk. Okay, and trade management. Trade management is a very, very important part of this process. Okay, it's the two together that really make the difference. In fact, so much so that the next step after knowing your setups really well and knowing how to trade them, knowing the variations that we covered earlier as well, and how you can trade them and make a little bit of money out of them, the next step is to leverage that. Okay, think about it. You know your setup, you know it well. You know this is a choppy environment, but you're looking for that markdown period in here. Well, maybe you started leveraging into it here. Maybe you took some profit here, right? And you moved your stop down, and excuse me, guys, just a sneeze. You leveraged into it, and you would have knocked it out of the park, right? But you didn't. You would have protected yourself here. Now you can look for another. Maybe this is in line with that same idea again. Look, we're below all of that buying now, and now I'm not saying that this is that setup, because it might work out, but we don't have a lot of pieces in here at all. In fact, look at them. Look, they're on the bid in here, and we look at the sellers in here. It's not a lot compared to maybe like something like this, or in the buying, or are selling previously, right? It's not that heavy of selling. We're not looking for it. Not looking for it to trade. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically though, if this were another setup in here, then and it looked good in here, and you know your setup and you know how to manage the risk in here, that you can really scale in and out of that trade And that's where you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck, or that's how you can use the leverage to your advantage, and that's how you can really build an account. Okay, it can even be done on small moves. I'm going to clear the drawings here. And we can always redraw some of these lines in here. And I'm going to take the stops and icebergs off the chart. Boy, not really seeing much. The bid, nice to see some action here on the bid. And that's about it, though. Not seeing a whole bunch of buyers in here. Let's redraw our 80 line here. That was an important one. Yeah, Kenji, you're talking about the knowing your winners, what your winners look like allows you to scale. Yeah, absolutely. You've really got to know your setups well. Okay, and like we just went through it all. What do your setups look like? Start to define them. Put it in the setups indicator here. Okay, you can have this on. It will always be on top of your chart in here, and you can edit these and then grade them as you go through the process in here. Okay, so you can score it, and it's a little subjective with the scoring, but you'll get a feel for it. Okay, what it means to you, and that comes through journaling and marking up your charts. Okay, I would recommend when you do that, and you've got your setups in here. Okay, and we have our entry. Make sure you put in to your setup in here the entry, maybe trade management, but your target and your exits. Okay, and your stop. Where do you put your stop, etc. Right. So your trade management should be a part of it. And here is the setup before it, then your entry, and then where you're looking for price to go and how to exit. All right, then and then start to trade with it in Bookmap. Okay, because once you start to do that, you'll start to verify your plan with a sim trade, and this is the forward testing here before you start putting some money on it. This is a great way to build out your plan. Okay, now you can do this in real time, but even better is you can record all this data in Bookmap at startup. Just check the box at the run options window and replay it, and then trade it, and then replay it again, and then trade it. Get really good at it, and do this every day. It's like exercise. It's like following your diet or your exercise plan. Okay, get really good at it. Do it again, and go through it again. Look for another one, and then go through it again. Go through it like 5 times. Trade it like 5-6 times. So you know what you're looking for, just like Kenji has said here. You want to know what it looks like, and then you want to be able to manage it properly. That's going to come through practice in here. We used all sorts of analogies in here. I mean, it could be like band practice. You're practicing a song, or God, karaoke or something, or you're at the shooting range. You're a sniper. You're practicing your target. You're doing target practice. Okay, and you're probably going through a routine, and get good at it. Get good at different. Are you, the target practice, like, are you lying down? Are you crouching? Are you standing up? Are you looking at from different angles, etc.? Yeah, it comes from a lot of work, Stephen. I mean, it can really drill. Yeah, I mean, it can really come through pretty simply, though. It is a lot of work, but you can. It's a lot of work to get to that area and understand that you need to do that. Okay? But you can kind of bypass so much by just, what if you just start today? Think about it. Like, if you know that, and now that's what you should do, just start today afresh. Okay? Stephen, you'll get really good at that setup in a week. And it won't take that much. And you'll have probably like, in a week, you'll probably see like 15 different examples of that setup. And then you can also trade. You could probably trade 100 times more if you wanted, and get really good at that setup. Now, that would be that 1 week, and then you'll do it the next week. True. Okay? And you'll probably make changes to it along the way, right? And refine your setup. And then you'll probably do it another week. By that time, you're going to be an expert in that setup. And just one setup. Just start with one that you relate to, one that works for you. Okay. Now, compare that to just blindly coming into the markets every day and like, oh, I'm looking for my setup. I'm looking for a flag pattern. There it is. I'm gonna risk some real money on it. Not much, but some, enough to give me some excitement. And you have maybe a few winners and some losers. Maybe you're lucky and you ended up with a small profit, or even break even would be a winner in that at that point. You likely have some losers because you probably didn't manage it well, and you're just kind of blindly throwing money at it, compared to going through the checklist, building it out, replaying it in replay mode, knowing what you're looking for, editing it, having your trade management in place as well. And that wouldn't take that much work. You could do that in a week. And then you could refine it over the next couple of weeks, and you'll probably be an expert in that setup. Shark Blue, you have your own setup. You know exactly what you're looking for. You're trading from the inside out. You're looking for your move below point of control, bounce back up to it, and then continuation away from that point of control. Okay, so, and you've gotten good at it now. Yeah, Vinny, I love it. Good support there. Way to go, Shark B. Absolutely. So now I would suggest, though, recording that data and replaying it and play it again. Okay, not just that one. Not just that one time. I mean, like, replay it multiple times. Rewind it. God, I mean, that replay mode in Bookmap is fantastic. And you can get really good at it. And I would suggest doing it every day at the end of the day. Or whenever you're finished trading, then do it, because it's still going to be fresh in your mind. and then the next morning try it again, because after sleeping on it here, come back to it and trade it again. Start to have it in your database, in your spreadsheet. From the Bookmap Academy, you can have it in your spreadsheet, for example, and you can have a link to your recorded file, or however you call it, and then replay it. Take some trades off of it, replay it again. Okay, and then the next day you're probably going to have some something that you traded as well, or looked at that setup, okay, and replay it again. Go through the same process, okay? And then you can also go back and replay the previous day. Now the beauty of doing it the same day is the context that you have, okay? Because using replay mode it's excellent. But doing it the same day, or when that data is still fresh in your mind, that trading day is still fresh in your mind, makes a big difference. Okay, because you know this context in here, you know what you're looking for, and you know that well, we traded at all-time highs, and look at this pullback in here. Okay, this is a low volume pullback on a higher time frame, right? There's not a whole lot of sell volume in here. Right, and then look at the price action in here. And look at the buy volume in here, and look at the sell volume for yesterday, for example. Pretty low, right? It's a low volume day, and there's your low volume pullback. And maybe this turns into a big flag pattern. Anyway, my point is, like, you know what this day looked like here. You weren't expecting much. And then you can replay it again and again, and it makes sense in a higher time frame context here, and that's pretty golden. I would do it every day, Stephen. I wouldn't wait for the weekend. You've got to do it daily. Okay, end of the trading day, or even in the middle of the trading day. Once you're done, whenever you're done trading, basically. It's really important. Don't wait for the weekend. You're going to forget a lot. And then that's where it turns into work, because now you've got to refresh your memory. You've got to get back in the mindset, and you don't want to lose that. And it might be a little foreign, a little esoteric. Oh, what was that day? What was that context? I didn't remember. Think about like how good you're going to get at trading it, and you'll be right on top of it. Then you're also going to add into this another element. You're going to add into the kind of picture of the higher time frame and what's kind of going on in the market fundamentally, or just a feeling for the market. And that's golden, because you'll know how to protect yourself also much better. You'll remember, I remember that day. I remember this file. Mark it up too in your chart, in your spreadsheet. I remember this day, and it was in general, like, price was just kind of dribbling off, after hitting all-time highs. So instead of giving money back on those days, or you'll have much more experience about that day and that environment, and that context will be in your mind. Okay, and this is where you may come back in, and you may revisit your trading strategy for those days, and you may come back in and say, like, you know what, down at my target was 77 down here. I'm going to take my profit here because it's back and forth. I'm looking for a move outside of the range, and there are elements in here that can allow for that to happen, but it didn't happen. How do you protect yourself? Okay. Would you really want to leverage in on that day then? Probably not. You'd probably get all in and all out. Maybe you would consider that. because you're not looking for a trending day. Okay? That's the mindset. Okay, that's the mindset where you can put this into context in your higher time frame. Right, we were looking for this to, on the small time frame, to trend outside and down into some of these levels. Okay, down into the 72 maybe, but you know, we didn't know. We're looking for maybe this move here, pull back, and another move back down into 77. Okay, and that still may play out. Right, and we're looking for it to play out here. We had our reasons for it to play out in here as well. And it's still in play. Look at this right now. Like right now, let's just see, what do we got on our side here? Okay, well, pulled liquidity in here. And boy, not much in the order book, but our sellers just came in. And where are our buyers over here? Well, they're kind of up above in here. It's not much. This is looking pretty horrible. Sellers just drove it down here. Yeah, we could. I mean, this is what we could look for then. We're basically still looking for chop. Okay, but we can also look for pull back to right around our line, 80 or so. And then sellers to come back in. There's our pullback. Okay, or heck, this might even be a breakout of our trading range. Okay, but if we're going to go with that that context in here of still looking for the move outside, well, then this is your pullback. Okay, and then you're looking for sellers start to come in, and they're not at all. And trade back down to here, 78, and break it. Look at the pullback in here. This would negate that, actually, that setup. For me, at least, it surely would. This is not a low volume pullback at this time. It's pretty equal. There might even be more buyers in here. We can look at it. We can look at our delta and our footprint in here as well. See if there's any more questions over in YouTube. Nope. Okay. What about over in Discord? Yeah, Stephen, I mean, Blue has his own legitimate setup. I mean, that's his thing. It might not work for you. You know, he's more a volume profile trader. And Shark Blue, I gave you a lot of feedback on, like, I wasn't my setup. I mean, you were trading around the point of control, and I would need a lot to go through in the point around that point of control to look for that outside move from inside out. In fact, I'd look for, you know, a lot of like, for example, in here, I'd be looking for a ton of selling in here. You know, big red dots down in here. Very small green dots up into here. Okay, and then looking for our red dots again. Well, even right here, right now at 78.5. If I had enough there, then I would look for the first move to bottom of the range here, and maybe take some off, and then look for a continuation, and then maybe I would even get something like this, where you might get your move down below, a pullback again, okay, and you could look to get in again in here, maybe someplace in here on a low volume pullback. Let's suppose you got to move like this, and you had this kind of, a little bit of buying and then heavy selling again. You're looking for that. Okay, so but you have your own setup and your own things that you're looking for. Whatever it might be, whatever works for you, is really the key. That you trust it, you know it, you trade it, and it works for you. Okay. For me, this was I would look for these elements in a move from inside to the outside. Okay, so like right now, I gotta have tons of sellers here. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for another thing. I'm looking for is exhaustion here, and I don't have it on the buy side up in here. Now it could be trap traders, but I gotta have exhaustion here. There's some here, and here come our sellers now, right? All right, so sellers should be able to drop it. They should be able to move it then, right? So we're looking for heavy selling. And now we've just come back down into our price channel. And that's been it. Now, seeing a little bit more here. Let me get rid of some of the drawings, guys. It's getting kind of in the way. But this is what we had drawn out. We didn't have that cell cluster over here so much, though, right? And we didn't have our exhaustion up in here either. But we could move right back up into this range in here. But for that inside out move, these are the elements that you might be looking for. And that I'm not picking on Shark Blue. He's got his own setup. There is no Bookmap Academy meeting this week, Stephen. Yep. So it's going to be a special presentation. Doesn't mean that you're going to not produce content. You got to keep up with your documentation. Right, because that's the counter, the quantitative. Don't take a break in that. It would be bad habit, bad form. In fact, I would, Stephen, I would recommend try this. Maybe just try like what we had just discussed about taking this one setup, your one setup, your one idea, finding it, making your checklist, and then finding it in the live market, and then record it, replay it, and then trade it in replay mode. Okay, and build it out. Yeah, there you go. Try that. I mean, I think that'll be really helpful for you. And it won't take long. It really won't. Like, you'll be a master in that setup in like, a few weeks. You would have traded it hundreds of times potentially. At least 20, 30, something like that. And you'd know exactly like your entry points, your exit points, your trade management. Like right here, would this be it? Maybe. Right here, there's your entry. Right now, I would need more in here. Like I still just don't see anything in the order book supporting this idea here. Right now, if I had that criteria though, I would look for it. Now here comes a little bit more selling. Okay, got to see a little bit more here, and then this would be like, see how the order book here is, instead of like looking for that move down into 75, 76. 75.5, 76 here. Look what happened in the order book here. We see some liquidity coming in here at 77. So it kind of disrupted that idea of just a range-bound trade. Now we're seeing a flip. And we did get some sellers. Okay, so sellers, you've got it. Let's see you drop it here. Just to the bottom of the range here. We're just looking for a range-bound trade in this case. And they can't do it. Buyers are coming back in. I mean, we know this is the environment we're in right now. Here we go, another retest. All right, the sellers, they got a little momentum behind it too. Should be able to drop it. You know, we're looking for just down to here, 75.5. That's it, right? You can take some off. So again, there's got to be risk in here, but this would be we didn't have liquidity on our side, but this would have been your entry in here somewhere. You would have taken a little bit of heat, okay? And then you're just looking for the move down to this 76 here. Okay. Now at this point here, where do you want to put your stop? Okay, well, it would have been up here likely, right? Now at this point here, and you see this risk coming in, maybe you just take the scratch. Maybe you'd have it at break even, and it should have worked here and it didn't. It could be another range bound trade and come back up into these areas up in here, come back up into 80. Do you want to take that risk in this environment? I wouldn't. I would just take the scratch and I'm out. Yeah, you need to confirm it's a large enough sample size. Repeat. Absolutely. Need 100 to confirm a large sample size. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the debate goes on about the sample size, but the larger the better. That's for sure. God, what is it? I would read again and again. I think it was like 17 or so, something like that. So you know, go with 20 maybe, and that's not bad. That'll give you a lot of information to really hone it and get better at it. So anyway, guys, you can see how much we've really, the last few days at least, you know, covered having that order book on your side and how much, how important it is. This is something one of our coaches, Stan, continually addresses in his coaching, and it sounds like you know, it's so simple, but it's really important. It's an important element. And the funny thing is a lot of traders, they just don't they don't hey, there you are, Stan. They don't. Well, you had a comment on that. Is like, well, yeah, well, of course you'd be looking at the order book, or else why would you have Bookmap? You know, but a lot of traders, they kind of like, you know, kind of poo-poo that, and they basically they have not looked at this kind of data or information before, so they just kind of say, oh, it doesn't matter, it's all fake liquidity anyway, right? We've seen time and again how important it is. Okay? Understanding order book imbalances and how traders react to it is really important. How that liquidity transacts, where it is, even in fundamental events. You know, like we can take a look at, let's see, the what do we have earlier here today? On a minute. Yeah, okay. We had our consumer confidence here at 10 a.m. right? And let's just, we don't really see too much out of it here, but let's just take a quick look. Okay, see the liquidity drying up in here? Okay, see the dark area in here? Here's 10 o'clock right here. All right, well, where did price go? All right, I'm surprised it didn't reach here actually to 87, but some of these traders, they'll stay in the book, and it gives you very easy levels of supply and demand. There's traders here, there's traders up here. A lot of times in that fundamental event, that's exactly where it'll go. Might go a little higher or a little lower, but that's where there is the supply. This is where there is the demand. It's really simple. simple economics 101. But you can understand that and put that into your context and trading plan, and understand the importance of the order book. Okay, how important it is. So get good at reading it, and then use that replay mode. As you can see, a lot of these trade ideas that we had in here didn't play out, and we didn't have that element on our side, the order book. Robbed. You okay? Trading in the zone philosophy hit 20 in review. Okay, there you go. There's a good number, and that sounds about right. So 20 different data points for you to study and build out, and that's a great start. Okay, and that will take some work, no doubt, but you can get there pretty quickly. All right, so let's see here. Anyway, any of you interested in the Bookmap Academy? If you heard me talking about it, this is where you can go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here, and then go to under Community, Bookmap Academy here. And you can apply here, and then you'll need to come over our Discord, and you'll need to request a spreadsheet. So now we can pair your Discord with your username in Bookmap. So we know that you have Bookmap. We have your email to contact you. We also have your username or your identity in Discord. Okay, if we need it. All right, guys. Well, this has been it's been a pretty good session for covering a lot of different things that we're not seeing much price action in here. Okay, we're looking for a move one way or another, and we covered looking for that potential move away from an area of value or acceptance, and then also range bound. Talking about if we don't have all the elements, then we're going with the trend. We're taking full profit off though at some of these areas in here and looking for the next setup. Okay, looking at measured moves in here, etc. Taking scratches. Okay, it didn't work out. Protect yourself. Think about how you can really unwind. I mean, we've all done it. I was looking for a sell in here, and I got a scratch. I'm going to look for again, and this time I'm going to leverage into it. And it didn't work, and it's like, well, it's got to work. I studied it, and you look for it again, and it goes against you, and you add into it. Now you've taken a really kind of mediocre trading day and turned it into a big loser. It's just you've unwound. You were on tilt. Right? Instead, just simply look for your things in your checklist and trade it. And once you've identified them and you understand it and you know that how it works and you know how your trade management works with it, trade it. Okay? And that's it. Okay. Now here we are at low of the day. Okay, we talked about 72 liquidity down here, 69, 68, but really it was the 72, and now that liquidity has pulled. Okay, now how good does this selling look in here? It's still in a downtrend. This doesn't look all that great. It's just kind of breached the low of the day. And let's see what else we have in here. Okay, just traded into this liquidity in here and kind of bounced. Put a little bit of structure on it and start to understand, like, how much are we really looking for in here? Not much. Anyway, guys, I think that's see, we get caught up with some of the questions in here. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll wrap it up here. Please hit the like button. That always helps. We try to cover this content for you, and we want to make sure that it's something that works well for you. We're trying our best here to understand order flow and bring these elements into your trading. We think it offers a higher likelihood of playing out. If you're not looking at that, you're just looking at something like this. Let me show you. You're not even looking at volume dots in specific areas. You're just looking at something like this. Not even best bid and offer, just candlesticks. And you're trying to ascertain in here off of this data where volume is, where the order book is, where there's liquidity, and if did it trade or transact. It seems like now you have to rely on extremely good trade management to make money out of something like this, because you're just not getting all the pieces. So this is something you might want to consider. You're going to see a lot more. You just need to start to understand this context in here, and then you've really got something powerful. All right, so yeah, thanks for coming, everybody, and we'll wrap it up. We'll see you on Friday. Tomorrow we have Jay Trader stocks. He'll go through his reading of the order flow in stocks, and then on Thursday we have Scott Pulcini. All right, and then I'll be back on Friday. Okay. Yep, thanks everybody, and we will see you then.